Hello, this is MrChris. Today I will talk about growth versus payback period as metric for the decision to invest in Yieldmax or other funds for generating retirement income. But first, thank you for those who commented on my first video about Yieldmax. I did not expect the interest in these high-yield dividend funds. Before I dived into the main topic of this video, I would like to share to you that last December 3, I completed an exchange of funds to allow me to get more shares of Yieldmax. I sold all of my shares in Aptly, GUI, MSFO, JPMO, and AMDY. In addition, I also sold all of my Defiance funds, QQQY, IWMY, and WDTE. It is a good thing that the market has been up recently, that the total return for all the funds I sold is positive. I had a profit of about $6,000. I used the proceeds of the sales of these funds to increase the number of shares I have for Yieldmax from 1,000 to 10,000 shares. I purchased 9,000 shares, hence my cost for Yieldmax has dropped from more than $20 per share to about $18.70 per share. Okay, let's go. Growth versus payback period. One of the comments in my first video about Yieldmax is on my decision to use Yieldmax as the vehicle for generating my retirement income instead of an index fund like QQQ, and use the growth of this index fund to generate my retirement income. This comment is the reason I made this video about growth versus payback period. As I said in my first video, I trade and invest in Yieldmax inside a traditional IRA. I wish I used Roth IRA, but I don't have one, and I hate paying tax just to get into Roth. My IRA is in Fidelity. Fidelity actually has an application that allows you to develop your retirement plan. Using the typical growth funds, my savings will run out of money before I reach the age of 80. So I really need to find another way to generate income and keep my current lifestyle. I don't like to downsize and I don't want to sell my house. Also, in about 8 years or so, the required minimum distribution or RMD will kick in for me. So I will need some deductions still to lower my tax, hence the decision to keep the mortgage on the house. I need to find another way to generate income. I don't like using an index fund like QQQ because generating income from it means reducing the number of shares that I have on the fund. Hence, when the market goes down, I will need to sell more shares just to keep my desired income. Remember, if the stock loses 50% during a turndown, it needs to recover by 200% just to get where you started. This can get worse if you need to pull money out of your funds during a market turndown. Dividend funds works differently, so evaluated Yieldmax based on my experience as a project manager. As I said, I used to be a project manager before I was kicked out of the company. I managed projects with cost up to $15 million. Before a project is approved, an economic justification is needed. The investor or owner of the company wants to know if it's a good idea to invest in the project. Guess what? Economic justification for projects does not ask for growth. Several metrics are used for evaluating the viability of the project, and the most basic and initial metric used is payback period. Payback period answers the questions: how long would it take to recoup the capital or initial investment? I used this metric payback period in evaluating Yieldmax. I was able to accumulate about $1.2 million in my IRA account, and if I invested in a growth fund or any portfolio that depends on growth to generate the income I desire, I will run out of money before I reach the age of 80. With this amount of savings, I divided it into 3: cash in a money market fund, cash for trading the wheel strategy, and cash for Yieldmax and other high dividend funds. Cash in money market, I have about $400,000 on it. Cash for trading the wheel strategy, $300,000, and cash for Yieldmax around $500,000. Imagine that your savings are investment for generating retirement income as a house. Yieldmax is the base of or foundation of that house. Hence I said that I bet my retirement on Yieldmax. So how did I calculate my payback period? Consider an investment of $540,000 and a monthly dividend of $30,000. $540,000 divided by $30,000 is equal to 18 months. This means that you can recoup your initial investment of $540,000 in 18 months. Is this doable based on the dividends that we're getting from Yieldmax? I think so. The model I use to evaluate Yieldmax assume a 20-year life cycle, meaning I expect Yieldmax to be around at least 20 years. Another assumption is that I will recoup my initial investment by end of 2026 without reinvestment, or by end of 2025 with reinvestment. After I recoup my initial investment, I also assume that the net asset value will drop so much that instead of a monthly dividend of $27,000 to $30,000 a month, the monthly dividend will drop to $10,000 per month due to net asset value erosion. With this model, I found out that I can sustain my desired income just with Yieldmax alone. I believe this is doable. My current monthly payout is close to 5%. With reinvestment and exchange, I am trying to increase this payout ratio. One of the commenters in my first video said that he is getting $13,000 monthly dividend with $150,000 investment, which is a payout rate of 8.5% and a payback period of only 12 months. After the exchange that I made last December 3, the investment I have for the funds I have in my Yieldmax portfolio is now at $534,000. I already noticed an increase in my total dividend received due to the $10,000 shares of Yieldmax that I now have. Another item to consider is that the dividend we receive gets into our cash account. So while it is in the cash account, it will be generating additional income. This does not occur if you are invested in an index fund, or if you have dividend from an index or growth fund, the cash accumulation will be low. However, I wanted to diversify further in how I generate my retirement income. So I'm using the wheel strategy to generate more income, just in case there is a major market turndown. I am using the no-loss method of the wheel strategy, and I have already earned about $85,000 on an average of $14,000 a month of earned premiums, with the current cost of stocks that are in the short call phase of the strategy under $200,000. There you have it. Now you know the reason why I use the payback period as my metric for evaluating Yieldmax, and why I ended up investing in Yieldmax. I have a criteria that I need to recoup my investment in less than 2 years. A growth-focused fund will not meet this criteria. If you like this video or any video on my channel, please hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any question, please write a comment and I will respond to your question the best I can. Thank you, and I will see you in my next video.